Buying crashed cars at salvage auctions is becoming increasingly popular. So the auctions are now doing us a favor in categorizing all their cars into 3 different groups. The first group is the lowest risk of any car you'll buy at the auction, a running and driving car. The crashed Bentley I bought was a running and driving car. It's lower risk because the damage that you see in the pictures is the damage that you get when the car arrives, usually.
The next category of car is the starts car. A car that starts eliminates the most expensive part from being broken, the engine. The risk in buying that type of car is that there's probably something wrong with the transmission or the suspension.
And then there's my favorite code of all, stationary. This is my newest project, an Audi R8. See, I love stationary cars because of the high risk, the equally high reward, but at the lowest cost. The highest reward? Well, that comes in solving the mystery. The mystery is the best part in buying a stationary car. The auction yard will work hard at making sure their cars start before they list them for sale, because that gets them the most amount of money. What the auction failed to evaluate was the pyro fuse. You see, every car has a battery and a motor and a wired connection between them. So what does the pyro fuse do? In this picture, the pyro fuse goes right there. If the car's safety sensors recognize that it was in an accident, the pyro fuse pops, disconnecting power between the battery and the engine. And you end up with a stationary code at the auction. Most car manufacturers hide their pyro fuses on the inside of the interior. Now, the Audi R8 pyro fuse sells for about $500 because it comes with this entire fuse box. But a little bit of digging, you'll find that the individual fuse is used in just about every Audi car, from the A4, the A5, the A6, whatever other Audi vehicle was made around the same time as this R8. The easiest part is exchanging the pyro fuse. I think I paid 30 bucks for this. The hardest part is doing it without breaking any interior. I broke this piece. And the best part is when you replaced pyro fuse, actually fixes your problem.
Some interesting noise coming out of the exhaust, but if you look at the left or driver's side exhaust, it's completely pinched off, so I'm surprised it sounds even as good as it does. So now that the Audi starts, we took it from a stationary code to a starts code, which is great for resale. I can breathe a sigh of relief, and now we can start treating our Audi like we actually care about it. Not that we don't care, but this car's been sitting at the auction for over 8 months. On April 20th, our R8 was in a rear-end collision and it left the scene on the back of a trailer. Not have run again until today, it was most important that we know that the engine runs well before we get too involved. The good news is now with the pyro fuse installed, we know for sure that our Audi R8 runs just fine. Now we can refocus on a more traditional approach to bringing back to life a salvage exotic car. An approach that typically begins with a good cleaning, so we can see exactly what lies underneath. Having just finished a black Bentley Continental, the last thing I want is another black car. So fortunately, underneath our Audi R8 is a vinyl black satin wrap. And in using the hot water from the pressure washer to soften the adhesive, we should be able to peel the vinyl wrap off of the car and see what kind of paint job is waiting for us underneath. I've never wrapped a car before, and I've never unwrapped a car before. But CK Wraps on YouTube, who is YouTube's premier rapist, tells me this process should take 1.5 hours. Right. The wrap on this car has been in place for about a year. So with a little juice, a little heat, and a handful of raw fingertips, this wrap should peel off with relative ease and minimal collateral damage. Low and slow wins the race when removing automotive wrap. And remember, I have to paint all of these replacement panels. So the last thing I want to do is damage one of the only good panels that this car has left. Most of what I learned about automotive wrap was done in the last 5 minutes on YouTube. And what I learned that you aren't supposed to do is pull the wrap off in one clean shot, because you can rip off the paint, you can leave behind a ton of adhesive. But I can tell you, if this is gonna take us an hour and a half or less, we gotta make up some ground somewhere. Whoa. The panels that have paint protection film on them seem to let go of the wrap
much easier than the other panels. The larger unprotected panels, like this door, work painfully slow. We are 1 hour and 10 minutes into our de-wrapping, and we're about 3 panels in to a 12-panel job. So whoever wrapped this car did a great job, because I have to remove a lot of trim to gain access to the edges of the wrap, which means they tucked the edges in very nice. That includes removing the carbon fiber side blades. The silver on this car is a monumental color because it was the color of Tony Stark's R8 in Iron Man, which was the first time that I actually saw the Audi R8 outside of the original commercial. Although I love the silver, I have to admit I do have a very bright future planned for this R8. Removing all the vinyl wrap from this car did allow me to take a closer look behind some of these body panels, which reveals an unfortunate reality. When you buy an auction car, you have to expect to find a lot of damage. And I expected to find the broken rear bumper and broken rear crash bar and broken rear suspension. But wait, there's more. We weren't expecting to find that the front quarter panel's damaged, the tabs where it mounts, you see it doesn't align. The rocker panel, side skirt, whatever you want to call it, damaged beyond repair. The lower quarter panel, surprise, where is it? Cracked. The upper quarter panel, otherwise very nice, 2 bad dents and a couple kinks. I'm not gonna be able to work that out. Maybe somebody else could, but not me. But the cherry on top, right behind this panel. Our oil cooler is broken in 3 spots. It's an additional $5,000 or so that I just wasn't expecting to have to come up with. $5,000 dealer pricing. We'll probably find all these parts for an additional $1,000 to $3,000. Add to it a piece of good news. It did not take me an hour and a half to unwrap the R8. 3 hours. It took me 3 hours to unwrap this car. But at least tomorrow is garbage day. I love garbage day. It might not yet seem like this car has an alarming amount of damage, but remember, we have yet to even look at the area where this car was crashed into. Why I bought a rear end crashed car and parked the rear end 2 feet from the garage door remains a mystery. Most of these crashed exotic cars head to the auction because they have upwards of $30,000 to $50,000 in damages. Now, when I buy them, I hope to fix the car for 10 to 15% of that original estimate. It works out because my labor is completely free. Not only is it slow, but it's unskilled labor at best. The bigger risk here is uncovering damage that you weren't expecting or that you didn't see from the auction photos, because that can quickly leave you financially upside down in your project and having you feeling like you wish you would have left this one at the auction. So check that out. That's the rear crash bar, and it did its job. It absorbed all the energy from the impact so that the frame and the engine did not have to. Although the exhaust looked like it did take a hit, we should be able to fix that. So some of the fasteners that holds this rear end together are actually pretty neat. I actually bought these last time I was working on the R8. This is called, I think it's a triple square. It's a lot of points, a lot of points. As scary as it can feel when you're sight unseen bidding on an expensive exotic car at the auction, there's actually a reassuring feeling once the car is yours, you own it, and it's sitting in your garage. It's a feeling of no matter what happens, it's just you and the car. And at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of nuts and bolts. Because no matter what we find, we'll be able to fix it. With those bolts out, I don't think there's anything actually holding the crash bar on right now. I need to get that little Torx bolt out, but because of how bent the crash bar is, I can't get the tool in. This is one of the benefits of working on aluminum cars. I'm just gonna take this aluminum wrench. I can just bend the whole damn thing down. Oh, I broke it. Now there's enough room to get my tool in that little bolt, but check out how the aluminum tears. That's by far the biggest downside to working on aluminum cars. The crash bar still feels just as rigidly bound to this car as before I took off all the hardware. I think it's just because it's so bent. So let's hit it with a hammer. We'll start with a rubber mallet first. Oh no. That's not going anywhere. That's normally a fun phrase. This is a non-fun phrase. Can anything bad happen here? I don't think so. All right, my money's on one more good whack. I'm thinking if we hit it right here, maybe right here as hard as we can. 1, 2, 3. Poor garage door. My brick. Damaged my brick. Wow. Cool. The real fun for me is taking a step back from the project and remembering that this is a car that I dreamt about owning when I was in high school. Although I thought one day I'd be earning tons of money and I'd be able to buy one of these in each color. Little did I know I'd end up actually buying one, only my Audi R8s come from the junkyard. I need to find a way to get a little bit more space behind the car to get these parts disassembled. This is not a good workspace, but with the car being on quick jacks, there's no way to move it. Of all 4 corners, there's only one corner that actually has a wheel on it. We'll be in a way better place if we can get the car actually rolling or rollable. This rear left suspension corner is a big problem. This being broken, the coilover being snapped in half, and the whole unit being mobile, we can't mount a wheel to that. This box has all new suspension components in it. Everything except the coilover.
Calling BC Racing. Your call is important to us.
Hi, I want to check on the status of an order. I ordered 4 coilovers. Yes, the order number is, I have it here. Yes. No. All 4? Oh no, I really just need 1. No, that's fine. Thank you for your help. It's gonna take 6 weeks to get a coilover. That's a problem. So some bad news about our suspension. I have all of these broken pieces to replace all of this. What I don't have is the shock or the coilover, whatever it's called. I can replace all the suspension, but I can't put a wheel on the car if it doesn't have a coilover to hold it in place. Hey, yeah, no, I'm actually working on it right now. I have a problem though. I can't get a coilover from BC for 6 weeks. Yeah, no, it's back order. You have, no, don't you have 4? You have 4, right? But they're all different then, yeah. Yeah, so I can't use one of those. I'd have to use all 4. Well, that's okay. How much do you want for them? Okay, you're in New York. All right, well that's a 3-hour drive.